welcome to Awaken the Rebel. This is Shireen Thor. I'm excited to talk to you today because some things are coming together. Oh shit, it's real exciting. All right, so I oftentimes really encourage following your soul or your truth or your clarity, even if it doesn't make sense. Like really, like I'm like, oh, you gotta play the ukulele. If I wanted to play the ukulele and it made no sense, but ever since I started playing the ukulele, tons has blossomed in my life. Boom. I wanted to quit a master's degree and start doing stand-up comedy. Did that. It made no sense. Totally opened my world to a new career path that lasted over a decade and has really ultimately developed the truth of like my purpose. So I'm always really an advocate for following your soul's longings, even if they don't make sense. So for me, I do this kind of like, coachy seminar retreat, sort of like Tony Robbins-esque business, obviously with my little feminine twist, my little MTV twist, whatever I got going on with my rebel world. So it didn't really make tons of sense to me when I was obsessed with doing a podcast, because the truth is, a podcast requires a lot of production. A podcast requires a lot of work. A podcast requires tons of content creation and possibly a recording studio and editing and digital marketing to like get it out there so that someone's actually listening. It just requires so much work. It really did not make tons of sense that I wanted to do a podcast. But I felt it like in my little, like in my chest, like right in between my boobs. I was like, it just feels like truth to me. Like that's what I want. I want to do this podcast. I feel like audio is my jam. I feel like being a messenger is my jam. And so while this doesn't really make total sense, I think I'm just gonna follow that anyway and just do it because it feels like truth to me. So I did that. And, I've been basically putting this podcast out for at least a quarter at this point, at least 3 months, probably longer, but that's kind of how long it's been going. And naturally, whenever I have truth or clarity and I take action and I trust myself and I go, even when it doesn't totally make sense, but I just go anyway, things come together. So right now what's happening is I'm really what happened is I basically had trouble producing this podcast. And when I would outsource it to someone, I would feel like I was losing control and I didn't really know when podcasts were coming out. I didn't really like the art they were making enough. There was a lot of things that were getting in the way of me feeling happy about the way this was building my brand and feeling in control of like the schedule of it and all that kind of stuff. When I tried to do it myself, it felt like too much work. I'm not really the best DIYer. I'm really more someone who likes to delegate and work with a team and all that. So I sort of was in this in-between point, struggling. And so as a result of that, I ended up creating my own system. So I ended up creating I have a podcast producer, someone, actually my friend, Sharice, who I've been friends with for 20 years. She stood in my wedding. I've known her forever. And if you guys know anything about me, she's the one who actually told me about the seminar that changed my life and gave me my first Awaken the Rebel moment where I quit the master's degree and started doing stand-up comedy. So Sharice has like weirdly helped birth Awaken the Rebel. It's so crazy. So it's like full circle. Anyway, the point is Sharice is my podcast producer. She orchestrates the team. She orchestrates the editor. She orchestrates my online digital girl who puts it up on the website and sends out my Friday emails for me. Obviously, I write my own copy because I like my message to be really real. But she schedules it. She does kind of like the techie side of it. And so Sharice also does quality control. She listens to the podcast. She either does the show notes or she outsources the show notes, but basically makes sure that it's all makes sense and it's edited. And then I go through and give my Shireeny touch on it, put my own like twist or my own Shireenisms and make sure that the show notes really feel like me. And so the system has come together slowly but surely, and it's just like a well-oiled machine at this point. It's really exciting to me. This podcast now does not stress me out at all. I get to be the messenger that I've always wanted to be. I get to stay in my lane of producing content and reaching out to people and getting great guests or just giving insightful solos and doing my jam. And then I have Sharice, who I trust tremendously, and she orchestrates the team to make it all happen on schedule. It's awesome. I'm really excited about it. And as a result of first trusting myself and taking action, second seeing the problem of the podcast production and not knowing what to do and moving forward in the ways that honor what I truly need most, and third, now I'm seeing like, holy shit, we could really support people with this system. This is something a lot of people need. I needed it. I had the problem of being really frustrated and needing a solution. So now that I've created this solution, we are now helping other messengers get their voices out there with our team and our system. So I'm telling you this for two reasons. One, the first reason and the most important reason, because I want you to trust yourself when you want to do something that doesn't make sense. I want you to then go through the discomfort of figuring it out and not knowing what in the flying hell you're doing and being frustrated and struggling a little bit, but then figuring it out. And then I want you to reap the benefits of those choices so that you can get to the other side and see oftentimes what opportunities or possibilities come as a result of you trusting yourself and getting through the muck and getting on the other side. Because what's happening now is I'm so freaking excited to sort of be a vehicle for other people's message to get out. So the second reason I'm telling you this in this super juicy solo cast is not only the yay, personal growth, trust yourself, make shit happen, but also if you are someone who is interested in having your podcast produced by Awaken the Rebel, we now can do that for you. It's so cool. I'm seriously so stoked about it. We are very careful with who we take on. We want to make sure that the people we work with are just amazing humans. I think that's part of the Awaken the Rebel brand. We just want to make sure they're amazing humans. Now, we also want to make sure that it's on budget for you, like we're not too expensive or whatever. And yeah, we want to make sure that your message is a philosophy that we really vibe with. So if you're someone who wants to have a podcast and you're interested in a sort of a boutique production team that's really going to give you a high quality of engagement and a high quality of service, then holler at your girl, okay? At the bottom of these show notes, there's going to be a little blurb basically saying like, hey, if this is something you want, click here and just schedule a call with Charisse or Shireen. Charisse is obviously my bestie / producer who I mentioned in this podcast. So that is pretty much it, y'all. 1, follow your irrational impulses. 2, get through the muck. 3, reap the benefits of those possibilities. And 4, if you want a podcast, holler. All right? Thank you so much for listening today at Awaken the Rebel. I love you tons, and I'll catch you on the next one.